Anyway, this next story right here coming from NBCSports.com as well. This is another interesting. This is a follow-up to a story I've been kind of following up to for a while. It's been more than 4 years since Brian Flores filed his landmark race discrimination lawsuit against the NFL and various teams. The case remains stuck at square one. The 6 teams that are subject of claims made by Flores, Steve Wilks, and Ray Horton are the Dolphins, Giants, Broncos, Texans, Cardinals, and Titans. They continue to seek a stay of the proceedings, pending multiple different appeals. This week, the presiding judge declined to stay the litigation. Currently, the Giants, Broncos, and Texans have a petition for appeal pending before the U.S. Supreme Court on the question of whether the claims made against them require mandatory arbitration. A ruling is expected within the next month or so. The Supreme Court first has to accept the appeal before resolving the issue. The Dolphins, Cardinals, and Titans have more recently had their efforts to force arbitration denied. That will inevitably be the subject of another petition for appeal to the Supreme Court, based on a broader conclusion that the NFL's entire system of arbitration controlled by the NFL has been struck down. Like most defendants to civil litigation, there's value in slowing the process down as much as possible. Flores, Wilks, and Horton want to move the case along, while, like all parties in civil cases, appeal rights can be exercised as to certain issues before the case is ended. There's a point at which justice delayed becomes justice denied. It has been more than 4 years, and at some point, it's time to start addressing the merits of the case and to stop spinning the wheels of the court system on the threshold question of where and how the case is going to be litigated. Very stupid if you ask me, but another story. As to the notion that the case would have moved faster if the plaintiffs had accepted the league's arbitration procedures, consider this. The league's designated arbitrator did nothing with the claims for more than a year. The defendant to a civil case can run, but it cannot hide, unfortunately. The NFL and the 6 teams that have been sued have managed to run an ultra marathon in the effort to avoid having to answer the specific claims that Flores, Wilks, and the Hortons have made. Common sense suggests that if the NFL and the 6 teams had any real confidence in its arguments on the merits, they would eventually stand and fight instead. Now, I know that was extremely long-winded, but I want all that to be on record to say this. Brian Flores, former head coach of the Miami Dolphins, black, African-American man, suing the NFL for racial discrimination, essentially. And him, 2 other people are suing a total of 6 teams and the NFL. Now, this has been going on basically since the pandemic. Actually, yes, since the pandemic, essentially. Now, I believe Wilks, Horton, and Flores has great proof of this, and I think the NFL has little to no proof. They're probably just trying to pay people off behind doors or whatever and just slow the process down and make people forget things, make evidence weaker, if you ask me personally, and try to settle out of court. With all that being said, I've been watching this case because Brian Flores is still employed by the NFL while suing the NFL. When this case first came out, I just knew that he was never going to have a job in the NFL again. Lo and behold, he's still employed and suing the NFL. And it looks like he literally has a case against them, and the NFL is trying to stall. NFL and those 6 teams are all trying to stall. They're trying to force it into arbitration, which is basically when that's like getting in trouble in the school with a teacher, and then the principal settles that dispute within the school. It doesn't leave the school. Like, your parents don't even find out about it. That's essentially what arbitration with the NFL. They're trying to have Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, settle the dispute between Brian Flores and those NFL teams. And it's like, that ain't fair because he's the commissioner of these teams. He's going to always be on their side. So he said, no, let's take it to the Supreme Court. It's going to take longer, but I'd rather go there because it's probably going to be fair. And we're talking years later. So while you may or may not see Brian Flores' name around the NFL, moving around different teams, coaching, I don't know what team he's with currently. I used to keep up with it, but I forgot now. But he is employed as an assistant coach or offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator or something. But he's suing the NFL, and I think he's going to win. He's either going to win this big case or it's going to settle out of court, and he's going to get some big money. Keep your eyes and ears open, folks. But I am keeping note of everything in regards to this case. But let me know what you think. Will Brian Flores win? Do you think he has a case against the NFL in those 6 teams? Go off in the live chat in the comments. Call into the show 313-466-4386.